Check. All right, let's go. Imagine turning your podcast into a profit machine that works for you 24/7. Selling digital products to your audience that already trusts and loves your content. Now, I know this sounds like a dream, right? Well, I'm here to show you how you can make that into a reality. Hey there, Anthony Porter here. Welcome back to the channel where we help solopreneurs like you build a profitable one-person business. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most underrated ways to monetize your podcast. Selling digital products is that way. Whether you're creating a course, eBooks, templates, or memberships, your podcast can be the ultimate sales. Your podcast can be the ultimate sales tool to grow your income without feeling pushy or salesy. Now, in this video, I'm going to break down the exact steps to launch and sell your digital products successfully. Everything from choosing the right product to creating the podcast episode that naturally drives sales. And then on top of that, I'm going to share some real life examples and proven strategies that could possibly help you start to grow your podcast like today. So if you're ready to grow from a podcasting hobbyist to a podcasting for profit, stick with me because this video is packed with actionable tips you don't want to miss. So, why your podcast is the perfect sales tool. We're going to jump into that, man. So why is your podcast the perfect sales tool? Your podcast is more than just a platform to share ideas. It's that bridge that builds trust. It has a genuine connection with your audience. Think about it. When someone listens to your podcast, spending 20 to 30 or maybe even 60 minutes with you every single week. Like they're really sitting there with you every single week. That kind of time creates familiarity. It builds trust. And that trust is the foundation for sales. You got to think about it. If someone is building trust, someone is getting very familiar with you, that becomes the foundation for you to start gaining the authority and start building your foundation for you to start making those sales to help monetize your lifestyle. People just don't buy products. They buy from the person that they trust and they know. Think about this. Remember, Nike came out with Just Do It. But when Nike first came out, they had to build a trust. Nike was just for tennis players only. They started running ads. They started building their trust. They realized that they had to get more into inner circles. So they started developing stuff that was for everyone. So they went from tennis shoes, and I mean literally tennis, the sport of tennis, to track, to basketball, to football, to baseball. So they built their trust, and now they are a multi-billion-dollar industry. So it's just like that. You want to build that trust with your peoples, right? You want them to be able to purchase. You want them to be able to become a confidant of your company, of your podcast, of your sales system, everything. So podcasts are also the way that they, like I just said, we position authority. You're the one delivering valuable insights, actionable advice, and solutions that your audience has problems with. See, the solutions that your audience has problems with, once you deliver, you become that authority figure. So when you're consistently providing value, your audience starts to see you as the expert in that specific niche, whether it's health and beauty, whether it's wealth, finance, whether it's romance, no matter what it is, they see you as the expert. And when the time comes for you to sell that digital product, naturally, they turn to you as the go-to resource. Now, here's the key. Podcasts create loyalty. Unlike social media, where your audience might just be scroll past your content, your podcast listeners are actively choosing to engage with you. They already invested in your message, which makes them much more likely to invest in your products. So when you think about this, let's think about something. I want to give you a real quick, real life example. Let's think about some real life examples. All right. Think of podcasters who have sold courses, eBooks, and memberships. People like Pat Flynn, who used his podcast to generate massive sales for his online courses. Another one is Amy Potterfield, who seamlessly promotes her digital products by weaving them into her episodes. The secret isn't just the product, it's the trust, it's the connection they have built with their audience. So let me say this. If you've been wondering whether your podcast can actually help sell digital products, the answer is absolutely. I mean, it's positively yes. It's the perfect platform to attract, nurture, and convert your audience into paying customers. Now, as we go into the next section, we're going to talk about how to choose the right digital product to offer to your listeners. And that means section number 2, choosing the right digital product to sell. See, I know what you're thinking. Now that you know that your podcast is the perfect sales tool, let's talk about choosing the right digital product to offer. The truth is, not all digital products are created equal. But the best product for you will depend on your niche and whether your audience actually needs it. So, here are a few types of digital products that work great for podcasters. Interesting. Online courses. If you're teaching something that requires step-by-step instructions, courses are an amazing way to provide in-depth value to your audience. eBooks. For quick actionable insights or guides, eBooks are an easy-to-create option that's affordable for your listeners. Now, memberships. If you want to build a recurring income stream, consider creating a membership site. When you create a membership site, this is where your audience gets all the exclusive content. You go live, you have question and answers. And even you can have this is where you can really have a private community, because guess what? If you have that private community, that's where you can start selling some of those high ticket and the exclusive stuff that you need to sell. Templates and toolkits. These are perfect if your audience needs something practical like swipe files, some plug and play templates, or even workflows to save some time. But here's the key. Don't just guess what your audience wants. Ask them. Throughout your episodes, ask them. Use your podcast to engage with your listeners. For example, create a poll or a survey and ask what challenges that they are currently facing. Or pay attention to the questions you get in the emails, DMs, or even your podcast reviews. Those are the gold mines. Those are those golden nuggets. Those are like Willy Wonka's golden ticket. All right. Those are the gold mines for figuring out what digital product would resonate most with your audience. And if you're just starting out, let me give you a piece of advice. Start small. Launch a low ticket product like an ebook or a single template to test the waters to get feedback. Now, once you've proven there's a demand, then you can go build out your high ticket products like your courses, your memberships, based on what your audience needs for the next setup, right? Remember, the goal isn't to create products and hope it sells. The goal is to create products to solve a real problem for your audience. Something that, something they already are looking for. That's how, you go from just having listeners to having paying customers. So as we talk about that, let's dive into the next section. And that next section is planning your podcast content to drive sales. Now you've chosen the right digital product to sell. Let's talk about how to plan your podcast content in a way that naturally drives sales without you being pushy. Some people can be pushy. Some people are pushy these days. This is where your strategy really comes into play. Your episode should lead your audience on a journey that makes buying your product the next logical step. So the first step is to align your podcast. Align your podcast episodes with your digital product. For example, if you're selling an online course on Instagram growth, create an episode that touches on a related topic like 5 tips to grow your Instagram engagement, or how to create a scroll-stopping Instagram stories. So these episodes offer value upfront and position you and your product as the deeper solution to your audience's challenges. When you're doing the scrolling or the storytelling, see, storytelling to position, excuse me. Next, use storytelling to position your product as the answer to a specific problem. Share personal stories. Share some case studies. Share some success stories from your clients or your customers who've used your product. For instance, you can say, one of my students was struggling to grow her Instagram following, but after taking my course, she gained 5,000 followers in just 30 days. These real life examples show the transformation your product can create and build trust with your peoples, all right, with your audience. And finally, wave teasers and mentions of your product in your episodes. You don't need to turn your product into a long commercial. We don't need to do that. Drop a couple casual references throughout. Now, check this out. For example, you might say, in my course, I go into much more detail about this topic. But here's one quick tip you need to start with. This gives your audience a taste of what they can expect and leaves them wanting more. Now, if you align your episodes with your product, sharing compelling stories and using all your natural mentions, guess what? You're not just creating content, you're building a strategic path that leads your audience directly to your digital product. So when we get into this next section, we're going to talk about the mechanics of creating a simple sales funnel that converts your podcast into the listeners and to the buyers. All right. Creating a simple sales funnel for your podcast audience. Now, we're getting into some of the meat that we need to get into. Now that you've planned your podcast content to align with your product, it's time to set up your sales funnel. Think of your funnel as the bridge that moves your podcast listeners from casual fans to paying customers. It doesn't need to be complicated. A lot of people want to make things complicated. It just needs to work. Here's a basic funnel structure. Lead magnet, email sequence, sales page. We're going to break it down. First, you need a lead magnet, something that's valuable and free that your audience can grab in exchange for their email address. Now, for example, if you're selling an Instagram course, your lead magnet might be a free guide called 10 Instagram growth hacks. Now, mention this in your podcast episode and direct listeners to a simple landing page where they can download it. Now, when you do that, after they go to the landing page, now we begin the email sequence. The email sequence goes as such. Once someone grabs the lead magnet, they are now on your email list. The money is in the list, okay? The money is definitely in the list. Here's where you can nurture your relationship further. Use 3 to 5 emails sequences to build trust, deliver. Okay, you want to deliver more value and then naturally introduce them into your digital product. One email might expand on the podcast topic. Another email might share some success stories. And then that third and final email is the surprise offer or a discount for your product. Now, when you finally grab the audience's attention, that goes to the sales page. This basically is the product's benefits. It shows how to solve the problem. So on that sales page, it's going to be directly broken down on why this particular product helps solve a particular issue. And it's going to include a strong call to action. So this is where you are close to closing the deal. Make sure your sales page is simple, focused, and speaks directly to the pain points that your audience is experiencing. The key to that funnel, the key to any funnel, but the key to this particular funnel is making it easy for your podcast listeners to take the next step. Now, mention your lead magnet at the least one per episode with a clear call to action. If you mention your lead magnet, listen, one particular time and then have a clear call to action. Download my free Instagram hacks guide Give them the website link, give them the link that they can reach over there. And over time, your listeners will move through the funnel and see the product as the solution they have been searching for. All right. Now, so when you do all of that, the next step is to do what? Promote your digital product on your podcast without sounding salesy and pushy. A lot of people can sound salesy, a lot of people can be pushy, but the next step is we just need to promote it. So to monetize your podcast without sounding salesy, let's face it, no one feels like they are being sold something. All right. Everybody's always, listen, every day you're in a funnel. All right. But here's the good news. Promoting your digital product on your podcast doesn't have to feel pushy or awkward. In fact, when done right, your audience will see your product, your particular product, as a natural extension of the value you're already providing. So one of the first strategies is to share success stories or testimonials. Now, for example, when you have people who purchased your products, my homeboy, Dre, I said, hey man, I want you to check out this toolkit. So the toolkit, I said, listen man, this is what I need you to do. I'm gonna send it to you. It's a beta test. I want to get more into. I want to be more in depth with it. Tell me what you think. Dre's at the time, he had 4 friends. They're starting a podcast. All right. They all use the toolkit, and when I got the feedback was outstanding. So the highlight of that was the benefit. Wasn't just the features, it was the benefits. And it made me feel good because the product that I let them test drive for me was just exactly what I needed. So when I did the beta testing with them, it was just what I needed. I didn't want them to buy it for the features. I wanted them to buy it for the results. Another powerful tip is after I got through with the beta testing, I started offering limited discounts and bonuses, and that created the sense of urgency. For example, now, for my podcast listeners, I offered a special bonus, a free one-on-one coaching session. That worked out great, but then I felt better when I said I could offer group coaching all in the same platform and then make things a whole lot smoother. Now, if you enroll in the course in the next 72 hours, we're going to let you get in here for the very low price. Now, I'm not a head buster. I know people starting out and they time and their money is very short. I was charging $150 a person. But I said, if you enroll and you get in here within the next 72 hours, we're just going to give it to you for like $25. Went out the door. I had a coaching session one time when I first started podcasting and I started doing this. I wasn't expecting to have maybe 5 or 6 people. Man, I had about 30. But it was great. Then COVID hit and I didn't know what to do after that. I wasn't focused. When I got focused again and I changed up and knew what I had to do using my podcast, it started to take off. Now, the natural transition in language when you having these conversations, it just feels, so smooth. So instead of making it hard or making it hard for people to understand, making a hard sales pitch, I integrated my products and into my stories and my lessons. So it just made it instant. For instance, in my course, I said I dive much deeper into this topic. Starting a podcast and everybody having a podcast for their business. A lot of people just think you can just plug in your mic and go. Now, sometimes you heard me say, all you got to do is just start recording. But sometimes you don't need to just start recording. What you need to do is you really need to make sure that you got everything situated when it comes time for you to do your podcast. And so the entire process, now we got to get into something else that is very important because you got to have the tools, you got to have the platform. Now that you have the strategy in place, let's talk about tools and platforms. This will help you execute everything seamlessly, man. Like, I can't stress that too much. The right tools that can save you time, keep you organized, and make your entire process of selling a digital product through your podcast such a breeze. Now, let's cover the tools for creating your digital product. If you're designing an online course, you need platforms like Teachable or Kajabi. You can also use, if you don't have much money, System.io, ClickFunnels, Squarespace, Go High Level. All of these platforms are good for you in order for you, if you want to have a platform for your digital products. Now, it makes it easier to create, it makes it easier to host, and it also makes it a whole lot easier for you to sell your content. Now, for eBooks, things like Canva, which $12 a month, are perfect for designing a professional, eye-catching product out here on this market. You're going to need podcasting hosting. I did a video on this. I did a whole episode in my podcast about this. 2 or 3 of the most popular ones are Anchor, Buzzsprout, and Podbean. Now, Anchor is free. All right, so budgeters, this is what you need. You need that free joint, right? Anchor is free. Buzzsprout, let me tell you something. Buzzsprout is the head of the Avengers. All right, it's easy to use, user-friendly. And when I say user-friendly, I mean it gives you everything that you need. Now, Podbean, if you're trying to monetize, that's where you need to start at. Not only is making podcasts simple, but also allows you to track your listeners' analytics. And that's one thing a lot of people don't do. They get on here and they think they can just upload podcasts to YouTube and Facebook, but they're not tracking their analytics. They don't know where these people are coming from. They don't know who they're trying to reach. You have to be, this is a business. Podcasting is a business, so you have to have that business mindset. Now, when it comes to digital products and nurturing, email marketing essentials, you got to have stuff like you got to have platforms like ConvertKit, MailChimp, and ActiveCampaign. They help you build your automated email sequences, to help you deliver your products, to help you nurture your leads, because once you get them, the object is not only to get them, but to retain them. So nurturing your leads is one of the most important parts of everything. Sending them personal messages, sending them happy birthday wishes. Once you get to know your leads, they feel like they're a part of the family. Once they start feeling like they're part of the family, they become your biggest advocate. Now, and finally, you're going to need a sales page or a checkout process. Tools like Samcart, Thrivecart, and Gumroad are great options. I still use System.io. And Store is another great one. Beacons.ai. All of these are great tools to use. All right, these platforms make it easier to create professional sales pages that highlights your product's benefits and includes your payment options. Plus, many of them integrate directly with email platforms. That's what you need. You need something that's going to integrate and make everything smooth. And so when you start to do all of this, you have to be able to think about this. All right. You're creating a process for your audience. You want this audience transition to be as smooth as possible. They'll feel confident purchasing from you, knowing that everything is organized, everything is clear, and everything is easy to access. So with that being said, let me tell you something real quick. When you're doing something, there is a 3-step process that I followed when I first started doing when I started doing digital products. That was creating aligned content that's making the product and my podcast align together. I built a sales funnel in order to get my product to the people. And when I did that, I was selling without selling. Like, I was just talking about it. Like, I'm having a conversation, like we cool, like we homeboys or homegirls or whatever, best friends, BFF. But I was promoting my product within my podcast, having a conversation and not being salesy. All right. And when you started thinking about it, one day you're going to wake up with $0 and the next day you might wake up with about 2,000 or 3,000. That's the object. Okay. So let's be clear. Now that you have that blueprint, turning your podcast into a profitable sales machine, it's time to take action. All right. So don't let the information just sit there in your head. Start implementing today. The key is to take a step-by-step approach and start to align all your content, build out your sales funnel, your email system, and then be salesy without being salesy. Sell without being salesy. All right. Now, if you haven't already started or don't have a digital product, start brainstorming for one. Ask questions that your audience will constantly be ready for, the questions that your audience can possibly ask, but you need to understand this. Find out what their biggest challenges they're facing, whether it's an ebook, a course, or a toolkit. Focus on solving one specific problem which your audience's struggle. You feel me? And then map out your podcast strategy. Plan your episodes to align directly with your product and nurture your leads and your audience through email marketing. Now, finally set up your funnel to capture leads. And once you do all of that, if you're stuck with don't overcomplicate anything. Please don't. All right. Now, I want to thank you for stopping by today. If you found this video of any value, do me a favor. Subscribe, like, and hit that bell notification. And I'm going to see y'all in the next episode, man. Peace.